further tests have shown that the arrays are unquestionably faster than the data buffers, and not by a little bit, by a second and 6 seconds. So I'm not going to use the data buffers, I'm just going to use the arrays. I think that I'll keep render 2. Will I? I actually don't think I should. I think I should just forget about using the data buffers. When I think about it, the data buffer peek and poke commands have those little questions in them. And I haven't looked into it deeply, but I believe the arrays are structs, and if those structs use generics, I think the monkey generics are pretty fast. I mean, I use them a lot, or have done, to avoid casting, and I don't know really the internal workings, but if they do avoid casting, and I assume they avoid the little endian question, I assume, then they would be faster. But so I am going to, I'll keep the piece of code, I guess, but actually I won't really. I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to take it out of there, and I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to move render 2 into test code, and I'm just going to get rid of render 2 build and products. And that's going to be pretty much it. I will reopen render 1. And so what I need to think about is saving the render 1 array once it is drawn at this point. I'm just going to get rid of this, and actually just while I'm at it, I'll get rid of this. Forget it. And where else? Inside draw curve gradient there are some little bits. Oh, this is unpleasant. I'm pretty sure there's a better way to do this. I'll just get rid of that, and I'll get rid of this. And actually, if that's going to be the way it is, I wonder if it's even worth setting that value. Probably makes almost no difference, but those are the kind of tiny details I may get into at some point. For the time being, I want to concentrate on render gradient, save the array. Actually, I shouldn't really do this. I shouldn't really do it this way. The reason being, it'll end up writing this every single, I'm just thinking I'm going to overwrite a temporary file. I'm not going to save every data buffer for every image. But on the other hand, overwriting that file 1,000 times is going to take a little bit of time, but actually, forget it. I'm not going to bother thinking about that. I know, I'm just so sure that's a stupid thing to think about, and that when I see, well, I'm going to do a couple of tests, I suppose. Man, I should add another time check in. I hate that. I hate it. write array time. I don't think I do. I think that what I want to do is missing time or something like that. Anyway, write array to file in after. It's pretty vague. Okay. Now, let me see. When I say output image project render path. So it's going to go into project render path. Or not, well, what does output image actually say? Yeah, it's not going to go into render path. It's output directory. Get path, render path, yeah. So it's output directory plus me. Now, what do I really need to do? Here? If oh no, that's not what. I don't know why I decided to do that. Local AFS stream equals that. And what do I want to write? Well, I could just be totally basic, and I think that for now I will. For local I equals 0 until buff size. I liked some of the things I changed about the other code, but okay. AFS write unsigned int basic is that? I can't make it that basic. I have to at least store the size of the array, don't I? I mean, I could just do read until, you know, end of file, and then make a list out of reading until the end of the file, and then make that into an array. Maybe I should do that. No, I need to know the width at least. Oh, yeah, I better write that, I guess. Unless I just want to rely on the project output width, that would be pretty weird. Like, as in the loaded project output width. Does that make any sense to do that? It doesn't really, does it? It would just be a silly thing to do. As it is, I will try and just do the bare minimum and say AFS write uint project output width. So really, the first thing you read is just the width. Then you read all the rest of the data, and you divide the number, the size of the rest of the data by the height, by the width, and you get the height. That's the idea. Of course, I'm just tempted to store the width and the height, and then write all the data and read it all, specifically. And if there's any problem, then that's tough. I mean, I'm really not disciplined about this stuff at all. I'll be able to look back and see when I'm saving these objects. I should be kind of checking at every stage, I guess, or at least being able to handle like a catch and try type situations. This is slow going, but let me think. I'm just going to write them both. Okay. So that's totally uncompressed. That'll be, few million integers. I'm curious, actually. Maybe I should just run that and see what on earth happens. And then I can say fs close, fs equals null. Should I? I mean, it's not going to do me any use just now, but it might be. Yeah, I think I am going to. And I suppose, am I going to just be a fool? No. Okay. So, mainly I'm kind of just curious about the file that gets created, the size of it, just as a completely uncompressed list of numbers. I mean, I should be able to predict it, but it'll just be interesting to see if it adheres to what I expect. And also, the extra time that it takes. I mean, a I've got the debugger on just now, it's going to be really difficult to tell, but I don't know. And I'm not going to be able to tell very much because I'm not measuring this time exactly. It's going to be more a question of seeing what's the difference between the total time and all the measured bits of time. And I don't even really say that. It could just be figured out. All of my lighters have kind of died. So what am I looking for? I'm looking to be able to look in there and just go bang. Okay. That's render 2xe. Oh. Okay. Let's give that another go. It's using the wrong render program. And it was only by accident I was even able to select it because it loaded the string render2xe from the old project file. Tricksy, the way little things sneak through. Now that I've selected render1xe, it'll never be able to go back because I can't reselect render2. I took it out of that list. This is more of a debug on render for 10 recursions. Why did I do that? I should just bail. Yeah, cancel it. This can go down to 8. Still hard work for it. Okay, so interesting. That's just now, yeah. Total time 13 seconds. Draw time, color sample time. Okay. So, yeah, there's a missing 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, pretty much. Everything else negligible. No, that's not 7. Anyway, it's 3. So total render time 13 seconds. This always tricks me, and I have to get over it. Total render time 13 seconds, 3 seconds, and 2 for the colors, nearly 3, so about 6. So that doubled the time. And it's an 8 megabyte file. Yeah. Well, I'll only be storing one of them, but I am not going to be writing that if it's an image that you're if it's an animation that you're saving. I don't mind, even if it's going to take a few seconds to write a single 8 megabyte file, then okay, I guess. But I don't want to be doing it every single frame in 1,000 frames or 5,000 frames or whatever. It's not going to be taking up disk space, it's overwriting a file, but even so. So, I mean, I suppose that I could I could write it to a data buffer, compress it, write it to the file. That might, obviously that would save a bit of disk space, but it would add a bit of time. And disk space I'm not worried about, because I'm not going to be writing multiple copies of this file. You can save multiple copies, I suppose, if you want. And in that way, I guess, compressing it makes sense. So let me think. Well, thank you, you served your purpose. Well, one thing is I could just try it with the debugger off and see again what sort of speed difference I have. I have a feeling running with the debugger off will make quite a big difference to the speed, but in a sense it's not that big a deal. Really, I should take this and I should stick it into recursor classes, and it should just be a simple load array file, save array file. And I need to find a way reasonably elegantly at this moment of saying, am I rendering an image or not? And I think it's just going to be another global. Another other global. It's not, it doesn't need to be a global. I know what it is. I'm already, oh me, this ended up being more of a kind of convoluted mess. But I know what it is because it's a project render single. And I'll just look that up. It's another bloody global. So really what I'll say is if project render single equals true, write array data a comma output dir. Plus, should I just say after? I mean, I kind of think doesn't matter. Latest array file. And it does need to be able to go anywhere. So this can come away. I'm going to recursor classes. Just say void. No reason that shouldn't happen, really, is there? Anyway. Ugh, what am I doing? I'm gonna have to write at least the width and height into here. Man, this is just annoying. it's like I do want this to be separate. Let me think for a second. Well, I suppose I could just pass in the with the night, really. It really could be. I need to pass in the actual array as well anyway. So I'll call this something better. I'll call it right render array, and in it you pass array of man for the time unsigned ints and a width, I guess an unsigned int, and a height, unsigned int, and it just writes the width and the height, and this just goes until a length, and this writes a height. And there is also read or load render array uint, and it takes a path. Oh me, I don't know what's most appropriate here. Now, I'll call it array file stream equals file stream. I'm getting tired again, obviously. Open path for the reading of, if not JFS return. Now local wuint equals AFS read uint, and height. Not that I need the height, really. Well, actually, I suppose I do in this instance. Local a uint. Is that how it is? Or is it a uint equals new uint of w times h pieces for inside here, it's more like right render array, and it's data A, comma, a whole bunch of horrible stuff, project, output, width, project, output, height. Okay, so still a huge file, but only written when only written when it's rendering a single image. I have the debugger on, so it'll be slow again. I'm not expecting any change just now. I'm just really trying to confirm that I haven't just built in any new bugs. So this is really, really crawling, but it's bit by bit. So what's about to happen? Nothing really just now. It's just hopefully going to do the same thing it just did, but with my little functions. That should be save render array, but anyway. So now I need to get back into the recursor, and it's quite a grim prospect because I just remember all the fiddly little bits about having to remember if I've loaded the latest or whatever. I'm gonna have to, yeah, I need a save. Anyway. So, and render options are still at render 1. Yep. Still, the majority of its time spent saving that file. And in Windows, latest array created just now, and a tight 8 megabytes. So I suppose I am vaguely curious to see, now that I've got it inside those little functions, do I want to write it to a data buffer? There's no, you just slice, copy to, well, I mean it's not going to be, it wouldn't be a problem to copy the array into the buffer, into a data buffer. But, I don't know, it doesn't feel like I'm going to do one little test, which is just do the lot in release. And then I'm going to call it a video just now because I'm tired, I'm going to have a rest, and then I'm going to start thinking that I have managed to make this work and that I should get on with the actual, the Windows. The gadgets that will allow me to look at the thing. Because I look forward to it, you know. It'll be fun to be able to edit those values in real time and see the effects pretty much instantaneously. I mean, I'll do a quick render just now and see how long well, see how long the bits that I'll be doing will take generally. A long compile. A few small bits and pieces have changed since the last time it was compiled with the debugger off anyway. Ah, what an idiot I am. Never mind, it's not totally wasted time because that will compile, that'll run again much more quickly next time. Should be more or less straight away because I'm not changing that again, I'm just compiling the render. Even so, long compile for this too. So, I'm foreseeing a slight problem with the array gadgets, the equivalent of the pun gadgets, but for the arrays. Like I say, I have a feeling that opening multiple versions of them is going to be useful. But that will make them distinct to the pun gadgets, and that I think I will want them to be part of the recursor class, so that the array gadget class is inside the recursor class, so that it can access the project's values, its gradient set, its, those things. So, I will take a look at this. It is on render 1. I will bump this up to 9, and I'll do a quick still. Very nice. 3.5 seconds. Yeah. 1.8 drawing it. And negligible time, like, so half a second spent. That's interesting, that's a long colour sampling, nearly 2/3 of a second, so that bumps that up to like 2.3, well actually 2.4-ish. That's the time it took to parse the array, so maybe these two things together start to approach a second. Top pixel height before scaling. Let me just make absolutely sure that that did appear and at the right time, so that is the correct file. It did get saved, that is to say. But anyhow, so yeah, this totals 2.4-ish, including this, 2.6, maybe 7. These things are negligible. So, the best part of a second to save it. That's alright. It's not going to be doing it in animations, I hope. I'll be able to just have a look and see. I'll check it by rendering an animation at some point and looking to see how often that file in the app directory gets updated. Anyway, for the time being, honestly, I'm pretty pleased with that. Soon I'll have something that looks like this.